missed doing that. I've not missed doing that. It felt so painful. Ladies and gents, hopefully you're all doing absolutely spectacular and welcome back to the tube. Today we're in for legs. I'm going to take you through the session. I'm going to give you some tips on each movement and I'll probably tell you a little bit about the thoughts around the programming as well. Hopefully give you an insight into my brain on how I've programmed legs. It's pretty similar to the last leg video I did, which was like maybe a month and a half ago, with a few small tweaks. So yeah, hope you enjoy the video. If you do, in fact, you will do. So you might as well like it now and enjoy. Have you just got one set? Yes, boys and girls, welcome to VoiceOver HL. Just thought I'd talk through the session on here, do a little bit of a mixture. Sometimes you'll hear me in the gym, sometimes you'll hear me on the VoiceOver. Just to give you a little bit more insight, a bit more information, hopefully help you out with your leg programming. So starting off, we've got the adductor, obviously the seated variety. I don't think I've ever seen a standard variety, to be fair. But seated adductor, obviously training the adductors here. Little cue, you can see I'm pausing, Jesus, that was a bit of a stutter. I'm pausing in the length and range for split second, maybe a second, just to A, really control the movement, reduce injury risk, but B, I'm going to talk about it a lot throughout this video. The importance of getting into that stretch position is absolutely huge. So take some time in that stretch and pause. It's always horrible in a diet when you losing body weight and then you got to put it a pin down compared to usual. Just makes me feel like my legs are shrinking, but they're actually just less fat. What you say? Nah, this is alright, leg extension's the worst.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd rather do leg press than leg extension.
Yes, same. Leg press you can zone out, but like leg extension you're so zoned in.
I hate it. I can't stop thinking about how
yeah. Yeah, leg press you can get into the zone, but leg extension's like... Yes! So when I was in Hong Kong, let me place you down. When I was in Hong Kong, leg training was definitely interesting, to say the least. The gym that I was training at only had, what kit was it? Matrix, and all of the machines were like weirdly light. So the leg extension I could probably stack for like 25, 30. Same thing with the hamstring curl, even more so. There was a dip as well that was like stupidly light, so I had to stack a load of weight on it. And that's not just because I was strong, like it was just really light. So leg training for the last 4 weeks has been pretty rogue, just from a loading perspective. I've not had any like heavy loading through anything really. I managed to get a leg press in, but again, like the plates were really thick, so I can only fit 5 plates on, I think it was. So that was a super high repper again. So this should be interesting, going through the hammy curl, going through the leg extension, and then onto the leg press here. I've got a feeling like I'm going to be quite battered, but I'll use this as an opportunity to kind of reset the load, lock in the range of motion and the control that I want to in either ranges, especially in that length and range, and then we can start to progress it again from there, rather than trying to beat my numbers that I did like a month ago off the back of like 4 weeks, you know, suboptimal really. So we'll see how it goes. Oh.
I feel like on here, like you get your hands more lengthened. Like me, personally.
Yeah.
You know, you have it's like dead. I feel like
Yeah, I get you. Oh. After not doing a proper set of them in a good few weeks, or at least a heavy set, that feels so painful. The DOMs are going to be so heavy, but got to get through this period. And I know I can recover in a week's time, kind of no matter how heavy the DOMs are, so there's no point in me doing D-volume here. Just got to grind it out. Okay, I don't know if I'm in frame here, but onto 2 sets of a leg extension. This has been the same for like ages now. Again, resetting the load a little bit because like pre-Hong Kong I was stacking this, and it was good form, like tempo was good, range of motion was good. Towards the end, maybe not quite getting short, like maybe 5 degrees off. But again, I think it's just time for a reset. Make sure I'm getting a good contraction. Make sure I'm actually controlling that length and range like as much as I can. So I'm just going to drop it down by like 2 pins. And I was also getting like 6-7 reps, which in the past has been majorly gammy for my knees. So hopefully this should be a slightly higher rep set to protect the old knees. Didn't quite get short on the last two, but gammy knee, gammy knee. It's such a toughie on there because, I mean, hold on. Yeah, it's a toughie on there because I've definitely got a little bit more in that call it length and range. It's more like a mid-range challenge on the leg extension. Knees at like 90 degrees, so I'm not getting fully stretched. But anyway, I'm definitely with that profile of that machine. I've definitely got more at the bottom of the movement compared to the top, and I'm still failing at the top. So ideally, I'd want it to drop off a little bit more, get a little bit lighter. But for me, like using the prime or using the plate-loaded prime, where you can actually adapt that resistance profile to make it drop off at the top. If you make it drop off at the top quite aggressively, or at least as much as I need it to, it's very, very heavy in the mid to lengthen range, which from a profile perspective is fine, but from like a protecting my knees perspective, tends to lead to issues. I find I progress the leg extension like pretty fast, and that extra load that I start to use is just not great on the old joints. So I think I'm going to stick with the Cybex one basically, and understand that, you know, the last 2-3 reps I might be a few degrees off getting completely short, but I'm okay with that. Again, I keep talking about it, but we know that from a effectiveness perspective, that stretch position or the length and range, or at least the mid-range on the leg extension compared to the top is going to be more effective. So getting out a few more reps at like 95% of the range of motion, I personally think is worth it, especially because I'm only training legs like once a week. I can get away with the recovery. Like I've got 7 days to recover, so doing some, I guess you could say partials, 95% of the range of motion, I think it's worthwhile. Anyway, enough waffle. I'm gonna do my second set. That was a bit too heavy. Right, first set was probably a little bit too heavy there. Got like 4 reps. And looking back at the footage, probably not the range I wanted to, at least from a knee flexion perspective. So I'm going to do a back off here, drop the load a little bit, try and get a little bit more range. And then, ladies and gents, finishing off seated calf raise. 3 sets here, I believe. Cues and thoughts around this is like, this is one of the bigger ones where you are so much stronger in the bottom position compared to the top because of internal moment arms, so like how your calf muscles interact with your ankle to actually create that movement. basically you're way stronger at the bottom. Plus, talked about this quite a lot before, like your Achilles is hefty. So you've got to be careful not to like just fly out the hole. So take some time down there, complete the set, full range of motion, and I promise you, you'll have so many more reps getting like 3/4 range. So for me, like I 100% think that's worthwhile to push through that full range and get out a few more reps that are like 50 to 75% range of motion, especially because it's calves, like it's a small muscle group, you're not going to get battered by it, and realistically there's not many people that train calves either hard enough or often enough. So push the intensity by doing that, and it should hopefully make up for the lack of intensity that probably a lot of us have had in the last few years. So push past what you think, and it will hurt. But your calves can do a lot more than what you think. Oh. That hurts so much. No way. Calf game freaking strong.
To be honest, mate, I had about a year of not training, so.
Hopefully you can see there. There's probably like 5 or 6 reps, like complete full range of motion, getting into full plantar flexion, aka getting into this position. And after that, I couldn't get fully short. Thankfully, this machine actually drops off towards the top, so it makes it a little bit more congruent, aka strength compared to how heavy it is quite even. But then once I finish that full range, probably got like 3 to 4 more reps going from the bottom all the way through to like 50 to maybe 75%. And it starts hurting at about 3. So make sure you're pushing it if you actually want to grow your calves. What, from staying locked in? Yeah, I get that. Right, boys and girls, that is a session. Dunsky. Recap: adductor, leg extension, ham curl, leg press, and calf raise. The structure that I run that is because I've got a hinge later on in the week. So, you know, if you were running this and you had 2 leg days, then you might have one with like your hinge and your leg press on one day, and then maybe like a lower back loading squat, so a barbell squat, Smith squat, a hack squat, something like that on the other day, so that you're just pairing that nicely. Other than that, like, you can pretty much copy this program to the T. In terms of the hamstring curl, if you've got it twice in the week, you might want to do a lying hamstring curl, but if you've got it once, I'd definitely opt for the seated. It's just going to be a little bit more effective, getting into a bit more of a stretch position. And calf raise, if you're doing it twice in the week, which you probably should be, training calves at least twice a week, get on the seated calf raise for one of the sessions, and then do the standing calf raise for the other session, just to get a nice balance. It's going to hit slightly different musculature. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you want any questions answered, drop me a DM on Instagram or underneath this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.